Welcome to the Matt Bolus Podcast. Thank you for joining us for one last ride down the open highway. On this edition, Matt announces to the world his retirement from the Matt Bolus Podcast. Join Dusty Ray as he asks the tough questions about Matt's departure. Also stay tuned for a very special preview of the new Dusty Ray podcast.
Matt Bolus Podcast fans, if you are not clicking on the official Dusty Ray YouTube page or a direct link from Matt Bolus, myself, or the Matt Bolus Podcast Network, the Chattanooga Podcast Network, and now Podcasting Partners of Atlanta, it is a scam virus. There are redirection websites. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Matt Bolus Podcast. It is I, Dusty Ray, thanking you for listening to that beautiful intro. Wow, we are getting pretty good.
Yeah,
we are getting pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunate news today that I have to bring to you here that it pains me deep inside of my gullet to have to express across such podcast. Matt Bolus of the Matt Bolus Podcast has announced earlier today in a press conference released to me via Twitter, Matt Bolus is retiring from the entertainment industry. And as always, I have the exclusive scoop here first for you. I have Matt Bolus, and I believe we're going to try to get some hard-hitting questions and get to the bottom of it.
You do realize that,
Matt Bolus, how are you? Good.
I'm fine. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good.
You do realize that I don't think anybody's going to take it serious. That I am retiring from entertainment in general. That's music, comedy, painting.
Luckily, because you're not very funny.
I'm really not that
You're not
funny.
very funny.
My music is too industrial for everyone, and my paintings are way too abstract and out there for everyone. I'm actually doing everyone a favor by finally accepting that I'm just a normal Joe.
You are very normal. You're a very normal man, and that is probably my favorite thing about you.
You know, I ran into an old lady friend I haven't seen in years.
A friend of yours that is an old lady?
No, she was a love interest of mine at some point, and I haven't seen her in years. And you know what she said to me? She goes, "You know what, Matt? If you would have put as much time into family as you would have your entertainment, you would be a successful father right now." And you know, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? She's right.
Yeah, that's so. May I take your inner monologue?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's right. I might as well stop now. Might as well, and start putting that work towards family.
You're right. I the next step will find a woman and then impregnate her.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to find a woman. Your facial expression just killed me.
I love it how you're still pulling, like you're still plugging. And this is what could be essentially the last fucking episode of
the Matt Bolus Podcast? Well, do I not get to keep the name?
Well, no. Keep it going, but with me on it.
Yeah, this will be the last Matt Bolus Podcast.
Yeah,
with Matt
by
Bolus.
all means, use the name. I don't care.
I fully intend to continue using the name.
I would actually feel honored to know that there's still a Matt Bolus Podcast out there, even though I'm not on it. I would feel honored to know that.
Matt, if you'll stick around with us, we'll come back after this. The Matt Bolus Podcast coming back after this. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Bolus is going to retire from podcasting. That means there are open auditions to be on the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. Dusty Ray needs a sidekick, a cohort, and a podcasting companion. Open auditions to be on the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. Fantastic news.
Let's just make one thing clear, though. I was never your sidekick.
I'm not auditioning for
Well,
lead
of course
here.
you're not going to audition. I wouldn't want anybody to lead it but you.
Who can stand? If you think you can hang...
We want you to stand up and take a stand. I don't know. You want to know where this all stems from, me retiring?
I do.
Well, you know, recently I was about to.
That is hard to say, but yes.
I was about to, and you know, I've had people invite me. You know, why don't you come out this night and do something, or come out that night and do something. But what has really just It's like I feel like every time I get into a different medium with entertainment wise, I feel like once I decide to do that, it gets ruined and spoiled. And it's not that I'm the one doing it. It's somehow the universe works its wonders for me before I even get started. Like with when we embarked on our right? Well, at the time in Chattanooga when we started live, it was a scene. It was still coming, like it was. Let's be fair and say that it was off. Chattanooga's scene was starting to get out there more. But traditionally, Chattanooga was always known as a. It had a big metal and a huge metal. Well, here comes our where we're yeah, we didn't receive well.
I beg to differ.
Well, no, a lot of people did like us. But at the same time, in this town, it's like when we decided to finally start live, it was mainly more so. It was really hard for. We were really big in our. And what happened with that? We decided to put it up. You know, we're not doing this anymore.
Are you deactivating your social media account?
I am, all of them.
Oh,
I'm deactivating all of them.
The Twitch?
If I can get rid of my Twitter, I will. The Instagram, I'm doing away with. Yes.
Pogo?
Gone. Facebook, I'm going to deactivate. Pretty much, there is not going to be any way for anybody to see what's up with Matt Bolus.
I've also heard you're getting rid of your cellular telephone.
I'm getting rid of the cell phone. That's the thing too. I just, the podcast is picking up. Fuck it, what do I care? Shit.
I'll let you retake it. I'll let you.
No, forget it. What do I care, really?
I don't know.
I don't really care. I don't know why I'm trying to glorify this.
The people deserve an explanation as to why you are leaving the podcast, and I will have the exclusive.
Entertainment.
God damn it.
I'll tell you right now, entertainment is so fake. Everything you watch, everything you listen to, it's fake.
You're telling me Star Wars is fake?
It's fucking fake as shit.
You're whatever.
Star Wars is fake.
It's not.
It's fucking fake.
Define fake.
That shit really doesn't happen.
In that definition of fake, yes.
It doesn't.
All of that and more coming to you live next.
This is the Matt Bolus Podcast, voted the #1 podcast in the Chattanooga area.
Here we are once again. We are back. I am Dusty Ray here on the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray, Chattanooga's only podcast. Chattanooga on the pay. Now, here with me again, always, for the last time forever, Matt Bolus. And I have the gut-wrenching interview with Matt Bolus. He is, as you may have heard in the previous couple of moments, Matt Bolus has decided to retire from entertainment altogether. And this is no joke. We like to joke around here. I like to joke around on Chattanooga's official podcast, the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. I like to tell jokes and have a good time with you guys and be incredibly fun and lighthearted. But I have heavy-handed news. The Matt Bolus that we all know and love from the Matt Bolus Podcast has decided to retire from entertainment. So that means that you and me and your cousin Janine, we don't have the chance to be with Matt Bolus anymore, but I will do my best to bring you the finest podcast in Chattanooga, the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. As always here, Matt Bolus.
I just want to say fuck you, Brages and Bragettes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's it.
Another thing, if I have one last message to get out there.
Views and opinions of Matt Bolus are not necessarily those of the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray.
If I have, I want to say if I have one last message that I want to get out there to people, like just one last hurrah, it's...
May I ask a question? Matt, is there a last message, or perhaps a last hurrah that you would like to express to your fans that have followed you for so long?
I would, and I mean this with sincerity, and I really do mean this. This is not a joke. I really do mean this. I'm being very serious. I want to get very serious right now. I don't want to tell this thing. Get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to get a hot dog. Yo, what's up, Brages and Bragettes? You're listening to the Matt Bolus Podcast with the one and only Dusty Ray. Definitely do not understand. Adapt and overcome.
This edition of the Matt Bolus Podcast is brought to you by Circle K. Polar Pop, 69 cents in your cup. Fill up. Circle K. Polar Pop. The Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. I am Dusty Ray here with Matt Bolus, the exclusive final interview on the podcast. I bought the podcast, or am in the process of buying it. Matt Bolus.
Go ahead and write me off. I am no longer your friend, okay? Let's just get that straight, alright? Write me the fuck off. Because I've done it to you, so you might as well do it to me. Let bygones be bygones. Go your way, I'm definitely going mine.
Yeah, I'm Dusty Ray. Matt, I will give you $2 for the Matt Bolus Podcast.
What you got there? What else you got there? You were offering me $6 out there.
I was, but I think you've depreciated the value of the podcast so much with your last message that it's going to be so hard. People, if you want to pray on Facebook, you pray on Facebook. That's our God-given right. The Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray, coming to you live from beautiful Chattanooga.
It doesn't mean anything.
It could mean a lot to somebody.
It doesn't mean shit. Facebook.
Well, are you friends with some?
Yes, I have some.
Are they some of the same people that tell you that?
I don't see them sharing any because they know it's a sacred thing. It's a sacred thing. If you truly believe it's so sacred that you can to yourself. And that should be enough. But no, you have to publicize it on Facebook and idolize yourself through it.
Just unfollow the people.
I do, but it's every day. There's someone else. Every day.
Do you think that people are going to hear this message and take heed to it? They're going to take heed to your
No, they're going to be pissed. They're going to think, if my hair on my Facebook, and even if I want to.
Well, Matt Bolus, I do disagree with your statement, but I do respect your right to say it on your way out the door because we have built this from the ground up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will stay tuned right now, a quick montage, some of the best moments from Matt Bolus on the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. We love you very much.
Normally when I do these podcasts, I'm not as mellow, but today, guess what? We're really laid back, really lighthearted. Dalton, Georgia?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I've never been to Dalton.
That's fucking horrible.
They have great carpet.
That is how I want to get away from this big 286-foot bearded, blonded, robe-wearing motherfucker as fast as we can. Maybe you need to sober up. Adapt and overcome. Sit in the cockpit of the motherfucking Millennium Falcon and watch episode 7 of Force Awakens. There were Twitters. And they were tweeting.
Matt Bolus doesn't throw away the half sandwich. Matt Bolus puts it into a Ziploc baggie and throws it into a trash can. There are some less fortunate amongst us. And Matt Bolus always throws away that half sandwich in the baggie wrapped up for someone who's hungry. We really do.
Brad Pitt's a good looking guy, but you shouldn't feel down on yourself about that.
Polar Bear Warnings, the Matt Bolus Podcast. Not intended for children. Children, go the fuck away. And now, how Matt Bolus would beat that dog into fucking submission.
I would beat that dog into submission, so he'd be loyal to me. That's just how it is.
Would you ever consider running for public office?
Yo, what's up, Brages and Bragettes? You're listening to the Matt Bolus Podcast with the one and only Dusty Ray.
Matt Bolus, we're back again. That was a beautiful little tribute section to you. How does it make you feel?
With the tribute section?
Yes.
That's nice.
It's very nice, isn't it?
It was very well put together.
Yeah, I bet the guy who actually sat down and put that together put a lot of time and thought into it.
I'm sure they did.
And he's probably very upset.
What?
He's going to have to steer this beautiful ship onward in the future by himself.
That's all right. He's got it.
The Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray is very pleased to announce the Dusty Ray Podcast on the Chattanooga Podcast Network. The Dusty Ray from the Dusty Ray Podcast purchased the Matt Bolus Podcast page for $2 on March 12, 2016 at 6:24 p.m.
I'd never agreed to the $2.
It's on paper.
It's not on paper.
I have it recorded right here. If you'll just rewind a little bit.
Can I see the piece of paper?
You can see, there's the paper.
Let me see it.
There it is. There it is.
Let me see this.
Those are...
Alright, there we go.
The Dusty Ray Podcast will be a beautiful experience for you and yours.
You know what?
When you
hear
me start
it's going to be great. It's going to be great, guys.
Did you hear a stop in my voice, or did
No.
it sound like I was going? Did it sound like I was going? Because if it
Oh,
did,
look at him already assuming his position and role.
God, there's just so many spots that, like, I'm on a roll selling this thing, trying to get us that free money, and then you're like, well, let me tell you one more thing about your Jesus. And it's like, what the?
Well, I don't really have anything. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Try to make them laugh? Like, if you don't have friends in your life that make you laugh on a daily basis, then you're a piece of shit and kill yourself.
You are that business model is not going. That's not a good business model.
What? We want the loners. We want the lonely people out there to listen in and laugh because they're lonely, and we need fans.
I want the lonely people listening because at one point in my life I was lonely, and I listened to podcasts, and it helped me. And it helped me. For hours, I would listen to Chris Hardwick's Nerdist podcast.
That's great.
And it would help me. It would help me.
You know, I don't really listen to music anymore.
Or podcasts.
Yeah.
What do you listen to?
I
The
don't.
Wind? The Wind?
Comedy is pure.
Pure.
It is. It's a pure medium in entertainment because everybody laughs. When you try to pit them off against each other, you're losing the essence of comedy itself because you're okay? That's not right. It's not.
And I can say the same damn thing about football. Football is about how you're supposed to have two teams playing. They get on or they see each other.
Football's not as pure as comedy. You see, music has been perverted over the years. Even art, paintings, perverted over the years.
You are the most Old Testament atheist I've ever sat down and spoken with. You were like God's fury, Old Testament wrath, kill Isaac, believe in only me. But you're like, but you're so.
What? It's hard. I know it's hard.
You're a hard cookie to crumble. I'd like to take this moment and thank Matt Bolus for everything he's contributed to the Matt Bolus Podcast to make it what it is. All the long, hard, sleepless nights. All the work, the pain, the sweat, the tears, the drama. Matt, we've been through it all together, and I promise I will continue to make you proud on the Dusty Ray Podcast.
I just want to say I'm sorry to anybody out there. In my duration as one of the hosts of the Matt Bolus Podcast, if I ever offended you, I am not sorry, and I hope. Yeah, I hope you actually hold a grudge, and you hold it so long that you let it fester inside of you. That sooner or later you go to that pawn shop, you buy that, and you try to find me. That's how much I hope I offended you.
The Matt Bolus Podcast brought to you today by Circle K Polar Pop, 69 cents in your cup.
In the Saudi Daisy Pawn Shop, go on down and get you a gun for the cheap price of $200. You can get a Glock 9 for $200, and then you can also buy bullets, and then you can buy a permanent marker and write Matt Bolus's name on the side of that bullet and fucking find me. I dare you, and try to kill me if I offended you on this podcast.
Matt Bolus, may I ask one more of the things I like to refer to as the tough questions? Matt, may I ask you a tough question?
Go for it, man.
You.
None of these questions are tough.
Why do you choose to try to drag this ship down with me still on board on your way out?
And that's the worst part about this, is what I'm doing to you because of this. That's the worst. That's the part that bugs me the most. It isn't anybody I've ever offended, that's for damn sure. It's definitely what kind of impact it will have on the Matt Bolus Podcast for the future of the Matt Bolus Podcast and the Chattanooga Podcast Network.
She died in November. No, she didn't die in November. I got a message. She died in December. Okay. Matt Bolus, you are a hell of a man, a hell of a podcaster. You are a positive ray of light in my life. You are the most positive man I've ever met. Daniel Ryan, Dusty Ray here from the Dusty Ray Podcast. I don't know if you read the press release this morning, but Matt Bolus is officially retiring from the entertainment industry. And I'm calling... Yeah, I have Matt Bolus here along with Daniel Ryan. It's Matt Bolus' last day on the podcast.
Wow. Really?
You want to talk?
Yeah, this is it, man.
Like, why? I mean, what's going on?
Well, you'll just have to listen to the podcast, but just know his reasons are good.
No, I would love to go into him again. I mean,
why don't you go do a different one of your reasons, Matt?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't want you to go into him again. I don't want another 20.
I don't think people deserve my comedy. I don't think people deserve it.
And that's why he's leaving the entertainment industry, Daniel.
I think he's right. I don't think that people are ready for us. Like,
No, it's not.
No.
Daniel.
I don't think they're ready for the
No,
Matt
I don't
Bolus
think.
podcast.
I don't think it's the ready aspect at all. I just don't think they deserve it.
He's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
he's coming off incredibly grateful.
No, I am not.
Right?
On his way out the door.
Let me tell you something. Our fans can eat shit and die.
He actually said that. He actually just. And so, in other news, one door closes, another one just.
Fuck them, dude.
One
Fuck
door-
them all.
One door closes and another bursts wide open with happiness and lighthearted fun. And the Dusty Ray Podcast has been born. Daniel, I am having open auditions. The Dusty Ray Podcast needs a co-host. Are you going to put your name in the hat?
Hell yeah.
Okay, this is my time to tell you. I would. The competition is fierce, so I would get your name in the drawing. You can email me at dusty@mail.com, and we'll have a cover letter there for you to fill out. It'll be good. The Dusty Ray Podcast. Check that out, guys. I'd implore both of you to check out my next line of work.
I don't listen to podcasts, so.
He doesn't listen to podcasts.
I mean, that's just a fact.
I listen to a podcast while I'm mowing
I don't
my
listen
lawn.
to any podcasts. I don't listen to any music.
Podcast while I'm on a podcast. What are you talking about?
Daniel, I just had to let you know that I hate to break your heart with those sad news.
It's really not that sad. You guys might actually go somewhere now.
Before,
I mean, it's kind of sad. I mean, like, you're just really starting to get into it.
Who?
you,
What do you mean?
we're just really starting to get there.
What, the
We
podcast?
could feel that you were starting. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
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 That's how we feel.
how?
It just,
How we feel?
it's just so visible.
We've all been part of it for a very long time.
You were
So,
there.
Kind of a shock.
And you
how
had
do you
reached
guys think I feel?
the
Okay.
magnitudes.
I was kid.
How
Okay.
you feel? Obviously, the way you feel is, I'm out.
In the way that we knew you always could.
Well, the thing is, once you've been summoned to court, gets a little tiring. It's too much.
I don't know.
too
I feel
much.
like that's a pretty productive podcast life right there.
It's pretty good.
It's
I mean, no offense, but I don't think Seth Rogen's got shit on that.
It doesn't. It's only.
No one comes to his podcast.
But it's only just begun, ladies and gentlemen, because the Dusty Ray Podcast is coming to you live from Chattanooga.
It's
the
gonna
Dusty
fail.
Ray Podcast.
It's
It
gonna
is going to be
fail.
everything
It's gonna bomb.
that you have ever
No, it's gonna probably be a lot better.
imagined.
Well, the thing is, people just aren't into dark comedy anymore.
They're not. That's why I refrain.
People aren't into dark comedy
They're
anymore.
not.
They think I don't want to hear dark comedy.
Well, because life is depressing enough without having to listen to somebody trying to entertain you talk about that shit.
Yeah, it's not.
Then what are they gonna talk about? Being fake?
Yes.
God almighty! I just like I said before, if I ever offended you on this podcast, please go buy the gun and try to fucking kill me. Just do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, all that and more coming up next with the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray. Now the Dusty Ray Podcast with Dusty Ray. Special guest next, Matt Bolus.
Listen to the Dusty Ray Podcast.
Sadly, for the last time, Matt Bolus from the Matt Bolus Podcast. This will be the last time he's with us. I would like to personally look him in the eye and tell him goodbye. And Rock'em Sock'em Robot in your next line. I know you can do it. I know you will. Whatever you decide to do with your life, father, if you decide to be a mother, I think you'll be a good mother.
I feel like a mother.
Anything, whatever, I wish you the best in your future endeavors, and I know that you know that there will always be a spot for you on the Dusty Ray Podcast, the only podcast now officially in Chattanooga. Any parting words, Matt Bolus?
I have some parting words. Oh yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to say to these people? And I want you to keep in mind.
Okay.
Some
Let me just go ahead.
Some of these people are very loyal to you.
Yeah.
The Dusty
Yeah,
Ray
like
Podcast,
they're loyal.
the Matt Bolus Podcast exclusive.
Let me, first off, I want to apologize for misleading people on who I really am. I misled you. I made you believe I was this Brudge, this dude, what's up? I'm sorry. I'm not. Also want to thank Dusty. Dusty has played the biggest part in this podcast, sometimes the only part in this podcast. And I want to thank him for everything he did and everything he's going to do. And I want to wish him the best on the Dusty Ray Podcast. I want to wish the Chattanooga Podcast Network the best. I want to wish everybody out there listening in the best. You guys are great. I loved how you interacted with us. We had a great time. It was fun. The whole thing was fun. I want to thank Daniel Ryan for participating. Nick motherfucking Arthur for participating. It's been a ride, And the thing is, the best thing about this is if any of you out there listening right now, you can go back and listen to them. There's like 30 of them. The first 10 are on SoundCloud. I know you have to download the app. Oh, I'm so sorry, but yeah, it's
just
on
like
SoundCloud.
Any great ride, all rides.
Can you believe someone said that to me one time? They were like, well, how do I listen to your podcast? I said, well, it's on SoundCloud. And they were like, okay, cool. They went to SoundCloud. They're like, oh, I have to download the app. Oh, I'm sure you downloaded Angry Birds, didn't you?
That's one of the main reasons I got off SoundCloud.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're off SoundCloud. Or, they're off SoundCloud now. They're on YouTube. I don't really know how anybody's going to be able to contact me from now on.
This will more than likely be the it.
This is pretty much it.
This will be the it for Matt Bolus.
Pretty much done with it.
I would like to thank you very much for giving me this exclusive opportunity to have your goodbye and your reasonings for leaving. Thank you, handshake, for
the final handshake.
The final handshake for everything that you've done. The Matt Bolus Podcast.
That was a weak ass final handshake.
The Matt Bolus Podcast.
Can we do it one more time?
One more time, handshake. The Matt
that
Bolus.
Was kind of a poppy one. I wanted
good.
like girthy.
That was good. I don't know how I'm gonna get girthy. Handshake.
That was good. That one, the last one. Make sure you use the last one.
From all of us here at the Matt Bolus Podcast with Dusty Ray, now the Dusty Ray Podcast, thank you for everything that you've contributed to this fine art. I would like to wish you well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have anything to say to Matt Bolus, you can contact him one last time via Facebook. And the calls are already coming in. Thank you all very much. The Dusty Ray Podcast coming to you live sometime in the very near future with the one and only Dusty Ray. He will have the exclusive interview with Matt Bolus. What is it like being retired from entertainment? That's coming to you next month. The Dusty Ray Podcast on the Podcast Network from Chattanooga, the Chattanooga Podcast Network.
This is a production of the Chattanooga Podcast Network.